Hello, welcome to Coffee Combos. Good morning, Lindsie.
Good morning. How are you?
I may or may not have a little throw up in my hair. I'm not pregnant. It wasn't mine. So we woke up this morning and, the baby was a little congested. And when I took him out of his crib, I put him in my bed for a minute while I brushed my teeth and stuff. And he was coughing and just threw up all over my pillowcases. And I picked him up to hold him for a second and rub his back. And, he may or may not have thrown up a little on my in my hair. So I haven't washed it out yet.
Yum. That sounds delicious.
Right.
That kind of scares me though, because Jackson's friend's mom texted me yesterday and was like, is Jackson healthy? Is he good? And I'm thinking, oh my God, Jackson just played with these kids. Please don't tell me something bad. So I'm like, yeah, he's in the clear. He's got a little bit of a cold, congestion. I think most kids have it right now. And she was like, well, such and such's class has had X amount of people out for strep throat. And she started throwing up over the weekend and then spiked a high fever. And then once the throw up and the fever broke, her throat started hurting, and 4 kids in the class have strep. So I'm like, okay, great. Good to know.
Oh, good. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we're dealing with over here. Lincoln and Lux are both home with me right now. So I'm going to see how this last podcast of the year goes. Yesterday when I picked Lincoln up from school, his teacher told me that there were 9 or 10 kids out from, not Lincoln's classroom, I guess, but it was a classroom downstairs for the flu. So She was like, if Lincoln is feeling sick at all, just please keep him home. Not only to avoid getting everybody else sick, but you don't want to make it worse or, have them running around while they should be resting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime that Jackson's even remotely something, I just don't send him to school, because I always try to think about myself as a parent and okay, you're going to get pissed off if somebody else sends their kid to school. So it doesn't make you exempt from doing the same thing. So
right.
I just try to be super cautious about that. Now, as far as the cough and stuff, it's kind of not preventable at this time of the year. I think just with the way that the weather kind of panned out this year, it was such an extreme to an extreme. So I think that's why so many kids are getting this croupy sound and cough. It was they were playing outside in shorts and a light sweatshirt, and then they went to it's freezing and you need a parka because we live in Colorado.
Right. I get strep throat a couple times a year, or I've already had it twice this year. So I'm hoping to leave strep throat and this illness in 2018. So my fingers are crossed for the next 2 weeks. I have to update you on all this Christmas and co-parenting stuff, because I thought that it was, I have been so upset all week, just arguing just with people and co-parenting. So apparently, I didn't read the custody agreements for Isaac and Lincoln thoroughly. And now keep in mind, my family lives about 3.5 hours away. Well, let me rephrase that. My aunt that we would go see for Christmas lives about 3.5 hours away. And then her 3 kids would come with their kids. So we were all going to get together for Christmas. Because I thought that it was my year for Christmas Eve, which we celebrate. So Javi texts me first, and he's like, well, you don't get him till 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So I'm going to drop him off at your house at 6 p.m. So I'm like, okay, at this point, 6 p.m. doesn't really work for me. It's a 3.5 hour drive. I want to wake up at my own home on Christmas Day. So I'm debating in my head, do I just take Isaac and Lux to see my family, or do we just not go because I'm not leaving one of my kids out? And then, you know what I'm saying? So then yesterday I was going up to get my hair done, and while I haven't even decided what I was doing about Lincoln, I get a text from Joe. Now, Joe's like, well, where are you going for Christmas? Because I need to figure out my travel arrangements, because I guess he's going to New Jersey, where his family is, and V's family. I said, well, I'm going up to Honesdale for my aunt's house for Christmas Eve because that's what we do when I have my kids. And he's like, well, I'm not driving to Pennsylvania. And I guess he'll already be in New Jersey. So he's like, you have to meet me halfway. Like, I'm not driving there at 6 p.m., whatever. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, you have to, meet me. Well, that's not going to work. So long story short, this 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve I don't know why any of us agreed to this because it doesn't work for any of us. And so then Joe texted me and was like, well, I just feel like if we're going to have the kids for Christmas Eve or whatever, or Christmas Day, we might as well just get both days, which I can't really disagree with. I feel like that's true. Like moving forward, we get all of Christmas Eve and then 12 p.m., keep the 12 p.m. drop off switch or whatever on Christmas Day.
Yeah, because that just does not really work as far as splitting up the day like that, because you're either getting ready to leave from Christmas Eve at that time, or you're just getting settled for dinner at that time. Because some people celebrate morning, some celebrate, dinner. So that's just not a thing.
All of our family, and all of our families are gone. Like even if it was Javi's holiday, he celebrates Christmas Eve as well, but at 6 p.m. it's kind of in the middle of everybody probably coming into town for him. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. So he texts me. And I will say, Chris has been the one that's really worked with me the most. I only see my family about 3 times a year, if that. Like, sometimes that doesn't even happen. So Chris was like, I went to go drop the baby off or whatever, and I was already upset about something else. And then on top of that, I got the text from Joe, and I still hadn't decided what I was doing about Lincoln. He's like, oh, well, whatever. Like, if you want to see your family on Christmas Eve, go take Lux. Like, my family sees them all the time. If you want to go see them on Christmas Day, like, take them. It doesn't matter. Like, he was just like, whatever, go with the flow. I was like, wow, this is honestly emotional for me. Like, I was already upset. And then on top of it, this. And I was like, okay, so I guess long story short is we're not going to be able to go see my family for Christmas Eve, which was what I was most excited about. And moving forward, I think, let me backtrack. Joe had said, well, if you agree on the 2-day thing, we get all of Christmas Eve, then I'm going to go ahead and have my lawyer write it up. I said, well, no. Yes, it sounds good, but I still have to work that out with Joe and Chris, or with Javi and Chris too, because I'm not going to change it for just one of my kids. All my custody agreements are completely identical.
Yeah,
so
I'm not going to work it out. Same.
Yeah, so if they don't agree to that, which it sounds like Chris would, but I think Javi would be more difficult, I'm like, honestly, this is a nightmare. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So we're not going to see my family for Christmas. I'm getting the kids at 6 p.m., which sounds like they'll have dinner with their dads. So I'm just going to try to make from 6 p.m. on, like, super special. Like, I'm going to get their little pajama boxes ready. We're going to do cookies. We're going to do the whole 9 and try to make it super special because I don't really feel like 6 p.m. Joe will probably be late because he's always late. Javi will probably be slightly early. And then Lux will be right on time. I feel like that's not really a whole lot of time because my kids typically shower and are getting ready for bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Right. So wait. So are you doing the pajama box thing that I sent you?
Yes. So, yes, I am doing that. So why don't you talk about that for a second because I did think it was a super cute idea.
Yeah, so I saw this thing online about doing pajama boxes for your kids. It's like a pair of pajamas for Christmas themed pajamas, or you could really just do like whatever type of pajamas they're into so that they can wear them like more than just Christmas. And then what was it, Kail? Like movie stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. I think there might have been hot chocolate.
Yeah, like hot chocolate and maybe like popcorn or something in there. It was just a really cute idea just to make it like be a little extra special. I'll make sure that I post like a picture of it on the Instagram so you guys can kind of get a visual of what it looks like.
Yes, I love that. Definitely do that because I thought it was such a cute idea.
Now, we absolutely have to talk to you about our latest obsession, and that is Third Love. They have 70 sizes, including their signature half cup sizes, so they definitely have one for you. The details really make the difference. From premium fabrics to expert designs, there's quality in every stitch. As I've said before, I love the 24/7 cotton t-shirt bra. I love that it's super comfortable and I can wear it pretty much with everything. And I also love their pajamas, and I just recently ordered a robe, but I haven't gotten it, so I'll let you guys know how I like it.
Another thing we're loving about this brand is the convenience of their online fit finder. So skip the awkward dressing room process and find your size in 60 seconds by answering a few simple questions instead. All of the comfort in your own home, too. Over 10 million women have taken the quiz to identify their exact breast size and shape, so you can do it, too.
Plus, Third Love offers a 100% fit guarantee. If you don't love their product, returns and exchanges are free and easy. So there's nothing to lose by giving it a try.
Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they're offering our listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/coffee now to find your perfect fitting bra. Get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/coffee for 15% off today.
And then just touching on the custody thing, shouldn't you wait to do anything with Joe until after the child support?
So yes and no. I'm going to be completely honest with you. My attorney bill this year has been over $20,000. So
wow.
I just really don't want to do anything regarding him right now. I still owe him money for this book stuff that I'm dealing with, and actually have 2 attorneys working on that. And so I don't really want to do anything with attorneys right now. I have the child support mediation coming up, I think next month. So I'm hoping to just wait on everything because Christmas is next Christmas is a whole year away. So I think we have the rest of the year to work that out. And I kind of just need time to make payments on my attorney bill. If we're being perfectly honest, he's like, oh, if you can pay it in full, I'll knock it down $3,000. And it's like, no,
yeah,
don't really know who has that kind of money, but all right.
Just laying around.
Right.
Well, while we're kind of on the topic of Christmas, we have been inundated with messages about
oh, no.
Javi doing Elf on the Shelf. If you don't believe in Santa, then why would you do Elf on the Shelf? And then the second thing was that Lauren had posted a picture of the boys seeing Santa for Christmas. And we had just previously had the conversation that y'all don't do it. So is it something that she does and that's why they're doing it at the house? Or what's the...
I have to be honest. I think that Lauren is probably a Pinterest mom. I think she's really into that stuff, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm thinking what she wants to do with Eli is probably something that she's already starting with Lincoln.
Which is fine, I feel like. He's going to get... if Javi ends up staying with her, it could be a good situation because he's going to get different things from her that... you're not a Pinterest mom. You're just a fun mom, a regular mom, cool mom. But I love Pinterest and I love all of the things and I love Santa. So, you know what? I'm here for it. And I was like, you know what? Kail might end up doing Santa after all. She might feel the pressure and she might be like, you know what, guys? Santa's a real thing. I just forgot to tell you about it.
Honestly, I've thought about it for looks, but then I'm like, I don't want it to seem like I'm favoring him or something, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't even know if Chris's family does Santa because Chris hasn't mentioned Santa to me at all.
Well,
regarding, he knows that I didn't do Santa with my other kids, but he hasn't really said anything to me about Lux. And I don't know what Christmas looks like over at his house. I don't know. I've never celebrated Christmas with him, so I'm not sure.
Okay, and then while we're on that, do people wrap gifts for Santa or do you just leave them out? Because when I was growing up, Santa was just left out and it was unwrapped. However...
Okay, wait, we have to talk about this because I have also a story on this, so go ahead.
However, I feel like it's more... fun and magical to wrap the gifts because he gets to individually look at them. I feel like it's overstimulating when you come down the stairs and it's just a slew of stuff and it's your eyes are going all which ways and you don't know which thing you want to look at
where to
first.
Start.
Yeah. So I think it's more special to wrap them. Not that I'm against leaving them open because I have every other year just left it open, but this year we're doing it different.
What? Lindsie, are you on crack? Who does that? Who leaves all the gifts unwrapped?
No. That's just like Santa. Like anything from us is wrapped, but like Santa stuff is unwrapped because he like gets it out of his bag probably. So he probably wouldn't have time.
So okay. When I was a kid and I did celebrate Christmas with my mom, everything was wrapped, whether it was from Santa or my parents, my mom. No matter what it was wrapped. There was never anything that was unwrapped, right? So I had this friend who I hate now. She said that for her Christmas, no gifts were from anyone but Santa. Like, she said that everything was wrapped under the tree and every single one was from Santa. There was none from your parents. That's how she did Santa, or how she did Christmas.
Okay, so no, but keep going.
So then my friend Sterling, she's got 2 girls, she told us that she does the wrapped gifts were from family and friends, and then there's usually like one big unwrapped put together gift from Santa.
Okay. I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of cute. And so I still think that I would wrap it. Like, for example, I got Lux the little tool construction handyman set. I don't know if it's Little Tykes or Home Depot, whatever it is. I'm going to put it together, and I still want to loosely put paper around it with a big bow, but like have it together and wrapped. Does that make sense? I mean, obviously it wouldn't be from Santa in our house, but like I still want to wrap it.
Yeah, but I just feel like so many people do unwrapped Santa, and I wonder where that idea came from. And
well, probably in movies, he doesn't. They're not wrapped. You're right.
Yeah, so I think that's where it comes from, and that's how I grew up having it. But I'm just kind of like, you know what? I might want to change that. I might not like that. So I just did Santa the way, for the past 5 years, I've done it the way that I grew up. But now I'm kind of like, you know what? I think it's okay to wrap the gifts because, you know, Santa could have dropped him off already. Like, he could have wrapped him himself. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not really trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to say. But talking about how all the gifts are from Santa, like, first of all, no, because I feel like that makes you feel like as a parent that you didn't get your child anything, even though you know, like, you did. It makes your child feel like it only came from Santa. And I'm like, no, that's just not a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know how I felt about that.
So I'm not feeling that, to be 100% honest. But
well, she's weird and we're not friends anymore, so that's probably why. I hope she's listening to this. Like, she probably, I don't know. I'll ask Javi next time he sees her. 'Tis the season for holiday parties, festive cocktails, and toast to the new year.
Introducing Saucy, the alcohol delivery app. Saucy delivers wine, beer, and liquor right to your door on demand. Cheers to that.
If you're in LA, the Bay Area, Chicago, San Diego, or Sacramento, your Saucy order will arrive at your door ready to drink in under 30 minutes.
If you don't live in one of those areas, fear not. Saucy will deliver beer, wine, and liquor to your door in 2 days or less nationwide. There are no order minimums, no delivery fees, no running to the store in the snow and cold. If you've got the Saucy app, then you've got a fully stocked bar on your phone. How's that for convenience?
And for a limited time, you can get $15 off when you download the Saucy app and enter promo code COFFEE. That's the Saucy app, spelled SAUCEY, and enter promo code COFFEE for $15 off.
Get the Saucy app today and use promo code COFFEE. Cheers to easy drink delivery for the holidays or anytime. Can we move on for a second? Because I want to tell you what happened this morning.
Okay.
So as usual, I go to McDonald's and get my soft drink of the day, and I pull in that joint, and literally it's lined out the parking lot. And I'm like, okay, no. So I get out of my car, I go in, pay for my drink. It takes like literal 3 minutes transaction. Mm-hmm. And they fix my drink. And I'm like, I was going to go through the drive-thru, but it's way too long. And they were like, oh yeah, honey, there was a man at the front of the drive-thru and he was raising mortal hell because a receipt. And I was like, a receipt? So I'm like watching this guy like fiddle with the receipt machine. And I'm like, okay, like obviously something's going on. And like, he's not a technician. So like, I'm confused. So he's going through all of this, and I was like, a receipt, because I always tell like wherever I'm going, like keep the receipt, because I don't want to have all the papers everywhere. And I don't even know why like receipts are even a thing anymore, considering that if you're using a debit card, then it's going to show up like on your account. So I don't really do receipts. Right. Personal decision. If you do receipts, not talking about you, just saying. So, he then proceeds to tell me the story of the receipt and why the man was pissed off. The receipt printed, and it printed in Spanish. And the man like got the receipt and looked at it and started raising hell because like he couldn't read the receipt. And it's like,
understand it.
Yeah, it's like, but why do you need to like read a receipt from McDonald's? Like it has an Egg McMuffin and a Coke on it. Like I just don't get it. So moral of the story, like, don't be an ass. If you're in a drive-thru and you have a problem, just get out. Like, you're being an inconvenience to everybody. Like, everybody. You can get out and go in and, like, speak to the manager or do whatever you want to do. But to have literal 19 cars lined out the drive-thru because you're pissed off about your Egg McMuffin and Coke, like, being written in Spanish, I don't have time for you. Like, I really don't.
Oh my God. I can't. First of all, who's even, I don't know what the Coke's at first thing in the morning. Maybe because I'm a coffee drinker. I don't know.
Yeah. See, I just replaced like Coke with coffee.
That caffeine with a different, right. Did I tell you about how I went to New York last week and did the Inked magazine shoot?
Well, you didn't really give me the follow-up.
Oh, well, this is really honestly nothing important. I just wanted to tell you because I felt super bougie. So
you
know
felt
how,
like
when
me.
Honestly. So I ordered I ordered room service, and I ordered like extra bottles of water. Well, they didn't have bottles of water at this hotel. They had glass, huge bottles of Evian water, and like, call me white trash, but I'm super content with like Smart Water or like Deer Park. I don't really give a fuck. I'll drink it. So I'm not a fan of Evian water. I think it tastes super bougie, and I'm not that. So I order the extra bottles of water, and I see the receipt, and it's like fucking $12 a bottle. So I'm like, oh shit. And I'm about to leave, and there's still glass water bottles in my room, and I already paid for them. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just take them home. So I'm like, I'll just like force myself to drink them. Well, you know what? The mornings are really chaotic over here, and truthfully, I had throw up in my hair. I wasn't really fucking with the morning, and both my kids are here, so I just gave my dogs the Evian water, and I felt so fucking bougie giving my dogs glass bottled Evian water. So I just wanted to tell you that.
First of all, if I would have had those waters left and they were unopened and they charged me $12 for those water bottles, I would be like, you need to send housekeeping or whatever those people are called that come up there. You need to send them up here for a refund, because I didn't use these and I don't even like them in the first place. So this was just like a last resort type option. So please refund me my $12.
Honestly, I have to be honest with you. I never thought about asking for a refund for ones that I did not drink. Wow.
Yeah, I would have been like, no. Because if I don't like something, no. Like, that's just not happening.
Oh, well, I hope my dogs are feeling super hydrated today.
I do too, with that $12 water. I do too. So I want to talk about New Year's resolutions, because
okay.
So many people have asked us about them, and I just feel like it's the perfect time of year. Like, this is our last hurrah of the year, and I apologize to all of the people who are asking for extra bonus episodes or, New Year's episode release and whatnot. However, we definitely need the break with our families, and so we will be back and more refreshed than ever whenever we do come back. So just be prepared. But I just wanted to talk about why New Year's resolutions are made, because a lot of people are saying that it's like stupid and whatnot. And I've said that honestly, like New Year's resolutions are just stupid. If you're not going to keep them, then why make them? But I have a different outlook on it this year, just like reading articles and stuff about actual New Year's resolutions and how the goal is basically to improve your life in the coming year, like whatever the goal may be. So it doesn't have to be like just the standard, what everybody else is doing, you know, because the most common ones are to eat healthier, get more exercise, and to save more money. And so, you know, although those are great resolutions, I feel like mine are a bit different.
More specific. Yeah. It's actually someone on the Coffee Combos Facebook page, I had posted last podcast of the year, comment your questions below. And Louise Devenport, she actually commented and said, have you ever made New Year's resolution and stuck to them? And if you haven't, what's the furthest you've gotten? I think if I remember correctly, last year at this time, I was trying to say the F-bomb less or curse less. And then I think that's what my goal was. I don't truly know how long that lasted. But I think I've said fuck on this podcast at least 3 times already.
Yeah. And you said last...
So I'm going to try again.
You said last week that you weren't going to do it anymore. So if you are trying to be better and you are aware of things that you're doing that you don't necessarily like or might be offensive to another person, you can at least have that awareness and it's there. But if you just like don't care and you aren't aware or you don't care to be aware, then that's a whole nother thing. So I don't think that's a terrible resolution because it's not going to be fixed overnight because it's something that you've done probably since you were like 6.
Right. Well, I haven't cursed since I was 6.
You probably did.
I mean, I definitely did one time in the 4th grade and my mom put soap in my mouth, but I didn't really curse as a kid other than that because I truly didn't like that taste. So I probably picked cursing back up when I was older, but I definitely did it when I was in the 4th grade one time. Okay, now let's talk about holiday shopping for a second. When you think of the perfect gift, you probably don't think of an electric toothbrush, but the Quip electric toothbrush is the perfect stocking stuffer. It's one of the most gift-guided gifts this season, and it's made Oprah's O-list, and it's perfect for everyone with a mouth, and it's something they'll use twice a day, every day.
Quip electric toothbrushes have sensitive sonic vibrations that are gentle enough on your sensitive gums. They even have a built-in timer with guiding pulses to remind you when to switch sides. And they are so much more chic than other bulkier toothbrushes.
We especially appreciate Quip's unique features this time of year because it makes holiday traveling easy. You know we travel all the time. It has a multi-use cover that mounts to mirrors and unmounts to slide over the bristles for on-the-go brushing.
I know that Kail got her kids Quip for their stockings, and it's actually something that I have also ordered for Jackson. I just haven't received it, and he hasn't used it yet, but Will loves his Quip toothbrush, and I know Jackson will also love it too. And that's also why I love Quip and why they have over 5,000 verified 5-star reviews. Quip looks like a big-ticket tech gift with a stocking stuffer price, starting at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com/coffee, right now you'll get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electric toothbrush. But you don't have to tell your giftee that. That's the first refill pack for free at getquip.com/coffee. So what are your resolutions? Do you have any, like, other than, like, saying the F word less?
Yes. So I would like to just, like, declutter. I think that sounds a little, like, not really like a resolution. But honestly, I sit in my office and I'm so overwhelmed with it that I just need to, like, get rid of stuff. Not just, like, reorganize, but, like, truly declutter, right?
Right.
So I need to do that. I don't want to say, like, I want to eat healthier or, like, lose weight because I feel like that's so cliche. But I do want to get back into CrossFit because I remember, like, 2016 was truly, I want to say, one of the happiest years of my life, despite, like, the divorce and stuff. Like, I was in CrossFit 5 or 6 times a week, I felt really good about my body, my health and stuff like that. So I definitely want to get back into CrossFit, whether that means losing weight or not. I just want to get back in the gym. And then I think I need to stay off my phone more. Like, I think I need to actually, we talked about this the other day and we talked about it last night. I need to be more assertive and less of a people pleaser, because I have struggled a lot, especially in the last few years, just like wanting to make everybody else happy. Like, even if that means money out of my pocket, food out of our mouths, like whatever that means to like make the people around me happy. And truly nobody that I've done that for has really ever reciprocated or been appreciative. So, yeah, I'm kind of done with letting people take advantage of me, to be honest.
I love that. I think for me, for my resolutions, I need to be a little more, I'm okay with saying no to people, but I need to be more like, okay, this is the time I have to do something. And if it doesn't get done during this time, then it's not going to happen. I'll say like, no, it's not going to get done. And then I still do it. So it's like, what am I really accomplishing with that other than just like stressing myself out? Like, I need to just be like more, okay, when I say no, like no means no and yes means yes.
Like just standing firm in your answer. And I think we've talked about that before, like when it comes to parenting and just life, like you kind of have to not make, fake threats, not fake threats, but like essentially, you know, like I just think that I just want people to like me and understand that I'm a good person. And I think that's why I'm such a people pleaser. And I also need to just stand true to like, this is what it is. And that's it.
Right. Because sometimes, I'm not just saying like you, but sometimes people pleasers can come off in a sense as dishonest because you never really know with a people pleaser where you stand.
Honestly, that's where I've struggled, because I'm like, yes. Whatever you want, whatever you need, this, that, and the third. And then it's like, oh, wow, I agreed to too many people. And now it seems like something it's not, or it actually causes more problems for me, I think, than being, okay, this is what it is. And I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. I think it's definitely caused me more problems than just making myself happy instead of everybody else.
Yeah. So I definitely think that's a good set of resolutions for you. I talked about before kind of like being more balanced, and that goes back to like the time thing when I'm saying like no means no, yes means yes, and setting, limits for myself, because I have a hard time separating like my personal life and my business life. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, whether you're a work from home mom or if you are in the corporate world. Like, I think a lot of people can relate from that, because whether it's, you might not be doing business at home from corporate, or you might, but you might be talking about coworkers, or you might be, it's always like surrounded business. And I want to have a better balance of that. And just like focus on my own schedule. Like everything that I do is kind of around Will's schedule as of right now. And it's, whenever he gets home, it's like I wait to work out. And I talked about that before. So I am going to be a little bit more proactive in taking control of my own life and saying, okay, these days of the week, I podcast. These days of the week, I go to the gym in the morning. These days of the week, I can work out in the evening because I have the time that I can be at home and dedicate it just to that. And then just taking the weekends for my family, because I think that's super important.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. I need to do that. I need to do better with that. Just setting specific times and just having a schedule, especially with Lux starting at Lincoln School after the holiday. So I'm actually excited to kind of be more diligent in like schedule planning and stuff like that. If you guys are anything like me, you need more energy and it feels like there aren't enough hours in the day. So the idea of having to hit the gym feels impossible with everything else going on in your life. But here's the good news. Body Boss can help.
And this is the perfect time of year to getting a fresh start and getting back on track. The cool thing about Body Boss is that it lets you work out from home so you don't have to run around town just to fit in a workout. My favorite part is the fitness and nutrition bundle because it's a must-have guide with everything that you need to be successful. And my New Year's resolution is starting early.
They have a 12-week Body Boss workout program, so in just 24 minutes a day, 3 days a week, you can get the boss effect. I love that they call it that, but it's an excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or in other words, you burn fat long after your workout. Plus, with caring pro coaches and a free Facebook group of supportive kick-ass women like you, you're never alone. Unlock your dream body with no equipment and no subscription.
Try Body Boss with this special offer for our listeners and get 25% off the fitness guide at bodyboss.com/coffee. Order now and get free shipping and a money-back guarantee. This is their best deal ever. Get Body Boss for 25% off at bodyboss.com/coffee. 12 weeks from now, you'll thank yourself for starting now. That's bodyboss.com/coffee.
Speaking of working with Will and being in marriage, we got a question on the Coffee Combos Facebook page that I feel like kind of goes with this, and maybe this could tie into resolutions. Charisse Bow said, how have you both dealt with finances when you're so within your marriage? Joint accounts for bills, but still need to leave room for money for leisure. My fiance works from home and only gets paid through commission, but won't tell me how he's doing financially. He tells me he has enough money, but I find him taking cash I've put away for wedding/emergency fund without telling me to get by. Makes me wonder how good our trust is.
Wow. Okay. Well, Will and I have a joint account that we basically operate out of. And then we also have a savings account. Everything's pretty much an open book. I bank like my savings at a different bank than he banks his. And both of our savings are separate, but what we operate off of monthly is joint. So there's no like real financial secrets. Like at any time that he asked, like what was in my account or what was whatever, he can go to the bank and I can print him a thing where I can log on and show him, like exactly like what's in my account. Like I don't know, but I do know that a lot of people have that struggle. And I think it's a common struggle in marriages of, who pays what and, what you're saving for, what this person's saving for. And I think that finances is probably one of the biggest causes of divorce.
I had a joint savings account, a joint checking account with Javi when I was married to him. And then we both had our own individual accounts that we both contributed to bills and stuff like that. So if the utilities and groceries added up to the same amount as the mortgage, then that's what we would do. He would pay the mortgage, I would pay everything else, car, groceries, etc. If there was a time where he came up short, that's when I would come in, or vice versa. It wasn't a huge deal to us. For me now, like I'm obviously divorced and kind of have my own bank. I have my own bank accounts and my own mortgage, my own everything. I think if I was to get married again, I don't know that I would even do it the same way. I don't even think that a joint bank account is necessary. I think because I have my own income. If I did not have my own income and I was married and we shared we had to share a joint account, I think that maybe makes sense because there's only one income. Does that make sense? Or is that kind of...
No, that makes sense. But it's also a double-edged sword, I feel like, or it's like a double standard, because if you don't have income, but you're willing to have a joint account, but if you do, then you don't want to have a joint account, then I feel like that opens the door for an argument there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that whoever you may be with might argue that and say, well, it's okay for you to have a joint account when you're not contributing. But when you can contribute, you don't want to.
Well, because if I am contributing, what do you really need to see about my finances? Like, yeah, we're married, but if I'm contributing how much I need to and I'm picking up the slack where I need to, I guess have the open conversation. And just like you said, if Will needed to see your bank statement, you would show him. I guess that's where I would be at.
Right.
Like, I don't know that I would need to give them access to my personal account, but if they needed to see it for whatever reason, or we're trying to figure out, something, obviously I would print it out. I wouldn't want to have to hide it, but I have a cousin who would have been a cousin I see for Christmas. She's married. They have 3 kids, happy, love them so much. But she always told me, just like going through my journey, she said, always be able to provide for yourself and for your children with or without a man or a spouse. So to me, that just meant that, I need to be saving. I need to be doing right by my money and having an account in the event that I was, for example, with Javi, and say he left and he took everything in the bank account with him. You know what I mean? Because I think that does happen. I think when people are going through some shit, like, one will empty the bank account. So I just think it's super important to have your own, but also maybe not have their name on it.
Right. Yeah.
And be open about it. Like, I do have this, and if we needed it, whatever the case may be, but also, I don't know. That was a good question. And I think that there's like a ton of ways that people could make this work. But I think that her fiance, it sounds like he needs to be more honest, because I think maybe she could help him.
Agreed. But I will just be 100% upfront. If Will and I had divorced and moved on, I would have done a lot of things different than I do now. But what I do now is become kind of like the standard and what we've done. So it would be hard to kind of like backtrack. But if I was not with him and I was divorced and moved on, first of all, I don't know that I would ever get married again. And I don't know that I would do finances, like you said, with a joint account. I think I would just do everything separate and just be honest about the finances.
The income.
Like, let's just, call it 50-50. I'll pay this, you pay this. This is my money, this is your money. You do with what's left over with your money what you want to, and I'll do the same. But I don't know. I think that you live and learn certain things by experience. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Let's take a break to tell you guys about a really cool app called Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free.
Stocks, investing, and finances can be really intimidating to people, but what's cool about Robinhood is that they want to make financial services available and understandable for everyone, not just the wealthy. The app is a non-intimidating way for stock market newbies to invest for the first time with confidence. I don't have a clue about stocks and shares, and I don't think many of us really do, but the cool thing about this app is that I jumped on, I followed some simple instructions, and bought my first stocks. I was surprised at how easy it actually was, and I'm actually quite interested, so I'm hanging out, and I actually wonder how Dow Jones is doing right now.
Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, but Robinhood doesn't charge commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. The design of the app has easy-to-understand charts and market data, and you can place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone.
It's actually really fun to try, and you can learn by doing. Discover new stocks and track your favorite companies with personalized newsfeed and custom notifications for price movements, so you never miss the right moment to invest.
Robinhood is giving listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at coffee.robinhood.com. That's coffee.robinhood.com. I wanted to talk about a creeper, okay?
Oh, God. Who?
I saw on Daily News that Stoney Westmoreland was arrested for trying to set up sex with a 13-year-old.
Who?
He is a Disney dad. Like, he's a dad, like, on the Disney Channel. And
what's his name?
Stoney Westmoreland.
Okay, I'm about to Google him.
And he is a granddad on one of the TV shows on there, Andy and Mac. And yeah, he was arrested in Utah after booking a car to meet what he thought was going to be a 13-year-old for sex. However, it was not a 13-year-old that he was meeting. It was a undercover cop. I guess, like, I don't know if they knew that he was doing this and, like, it had happened more times, or if there was, like, a specific person that he was doing it to, and then, like, they turned him in and then, like, set up a sting. I'm not sure. But I do know that an undercover cop was posing as a child on the dating app that he was on and sent pornographic pictures and asked for snaps back. And he basically fell right into the trap.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm looking it up right now, and Disney fired him and everything. I mean, I'm glad they did, of course. This makes me wonder how many adults that work for Disney and Nickelodeon, etc., like, are doing this and not getting caught.
I know it makes you wonder because all of these kids that are around them, you know, like, their life is focused around kids, but then that also leads you down the path of how often does it happen in schools that we don't hear about because teachers are around kids, you know, like, in the same capacity. So, not saying like anything bad about
how much is it, right?
You know, teachers or whatever. I'm just saying, how often is this happening that we don't know about it? And this man was on, like, major shows like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, CSI Miami, like Andy and Mac on Disney, like, yeah, like a lot of shows. So I just don't know, like, what's going through a grown man's mind when they know that they're doing something wrong. Like, a 13-year-old, like, is that person even, like, fully gone through puberty at that point? Like, that's just not, whether they have or not, that's irrelevant because that is not appropriate.
Ugh, I hope he gets locked up for life. That is so disturbing.
I can't wait to see what, like, more comes of the story because when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. But I just want to know, like, the background of it already. Like, how did an undercover cop already get involved with that? I
don't know. That is so crazy.
I was like, oh my gosh. And then, as I was reading news, did you see where the HQ Trivia and Vine co-founder was found dead in his apartment in New York City?
The who?
Have you ever played HQ Trivia?
HQ, I don't know. I'm looking it up right now. I don't know. What is it?
It's like a...
No, I've never played this. Oh, wow. Colin Kroll, co-founder of HQ Trivia and Vine.
Yeah, he co-founded Vine. Like, this man must have been very, very smart because, first of all, he was only like 35.
He was only 34.
Yeah.
He was 34.
34 years old. And a co-founder of Vine. I know Vine doesn't exist anymore, but a co-founder of Vine, HQ Trivia, which was like a #1 app, I think, for a while. Like, it was for a while. Yeah, and I just saw that, and his girlfriend had called for a wellness check on him, like called the police, I guess, because she couldn't get in touch with him. And
yeah, that's what it says. Mm-hmm.
And that he overdosed. The police, like, went in for the wellness check and found him on his bed, and there were drug paraphernalia that was around, and they believe it was a narcotics overdose. And I know that HQ Trivia was, like, a little bit down on, like, downloads, I think, for the app and stuff. It had kind of taken a decline. And I don't know if that maybe had something to do with it or what, or if it was like a total accident or what.
I mean, I think it's crazy because the amount, I just don't know if it's just this year or we're just becoming more aware, or if it truly is more prevalent. Like the drug overdoses and the suicides this year, I just, oh my gosh, like this is, I didn't even, first of all, know what this is, but like just reading the story here on CNN, I'm looking it up, is so sad. I don't know if it would be about the HQ trivia as much as it seems like it was more of an accident. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert and I don't know any more than what I've read, but it just kind of made me think of people out here who are so young and have had great success, and you kind of reach that peak at a young age, and then anytime that anything takes like a downfall or you decrease or whatever, that would be such a hard fall to have such a strong, coming out of the gate, you come out really strong and then have to deal with adversity or, whatever it may be. I could see where that would be very hard and devastating. So I'm thinking that maybe it might not have been an accident, but I don't know. Like, it could have been a total accident. You just never know.
You never really know. Yeah.
Just from what I've read, there was some stuff that had gone on. Twitter had bought Vine, and apparently he was fired at that point for being a bad manager, that he had behaviors that made his female coworkers uncomfortable, and that he was verbally abusive and abrasive. So I'm not sure, how true that information is or not, because again, I'm just reading it, and we all know I've read things about me that are also not true. So, and you yourself,
you never really know.
You never really know, but I just feel like it's such a sad situation, and I want to know more. I want to hear from like the girlfriend, if she's going to like speak or say anything on it. If he was battling with anything or, whatnot, because even though he might've been battling with something, he might've been using the drugs to take his mind like off of whatever it
away
was.
From it.
And then it truly was an accident that he, in result of taking the drugs, passed away. But yeah, it's so sad. I'm just like, what is this like world coming to? I don't understand. And then back on the Disney dad or granddad situation, it made me think, okay, I don't have a daughter. I have a son and you have sons. But girls with social media and this day and time, I feel like it is hard for you to know how old certain girls are, because things have become so normal for, these young girls out here. You've got 16-year-olds out here getting lip injections. Like,
honestly, I told y'all before, I wore Bermuda shorts to my knees until I was fucking 14 years old, like 12 years old. I was not, like, literally played with Barbies until I was 12 or 13. Like, I did not.
I'm not saying that's an excuse for like any of the stuff that goes on. I'm
no,
just
of course not.
That at some point parents are going to have to take accountability to some extent, because you're allowing your daughter to go out here and parade all over social media at, 13, 14, 15 years old. And sometimes I've talked to parents before that didn't even know that their child had like an Instagram or a Twitter or whatever. And I'm just like, how does that even happen? I mean, I'll probably understand it more when I get to that age of the lying and conniving and whatever, but I'm not there yet. But I'm just like, how does that happen. And you don't want your child to be looked at in a sexual manner from a man that's, 20 something years old and your daughter's 15, but yet you're allowing them to get lip injections, dress like in scandalous ways. I'm just like, okay, well, you're kind of asking for it at that point.
I just get annoyed with parents and people in general. Like, I think that there's a lot to be said about just like social media, technology, kids looking older than they are. You have to kind of stay on top of what your kids are doing. I literally check Isaac's backpack thoroughly every single day. Like, I want to know what's in it, if he's got notes, if he's got anything, just like whatever. If he's on his iPad, I want to know what he's playing and what these games are, which I think I have slacked over this year. Kind of like, I don't really know what Roblox is. Like, what the hell is Roblox? So I need to do my research on what that is and what that looks like in the game, because I don't know. Kids get into things that I feel like people only do what you allow them to, and they get away with what you allow them to do. And so I feel like if the parents are allowing these 16-year-olds to get lip injections or wear short shorts or whatever, like, that's a huge problem. And it does at some point fall on the parents. It's not just the kids.
Well, exactly. And then, it makes me think too, just from a parental standpoint, the parents are in a bad situation because you have other parents that are going to allow their kids to do it. And then your child's trying to keep up with that, and so it's like this social stigma that it's like, okay, well, because this person's doing it, I don't want my daughter to feel like, she's ugly because she's doing this. So like, I must have to let her do that. Like, that is such a hard place to be in.
Well, social media kind of allows parents to use, and what, I guess, not just social media, but I think technology in general, and just like my daughter and my son do this and they have this. And where before, like when we were growing up, we didn't really have that. So it wasn't ever about that. But now it's like more about material things, physical and aesthetic things versus like true quality humans and, intentions.
Right, yeah. And I just don't know that I like it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, I don't. I can agree with that. I want to just read some things that I got off the Facebook page, Coffee Combos Facebook page. So someone named Casey Baker, she said she just wanted a shout out. She loves us so much and she listens every day, and she's been watching me since 16 and pregnant. So I just wanted to say thank you for listening, and we're super excited that you love our podcast and you're following us on the Facebook page.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Rachel Harwell said, keep up the great work, ladies. I love how different you both are, but in some way the same. So thanks also for listening.
Yes, and thank you, because that is very true. Actually, I feel like we have more in common than people realize.
Yeah, I would say so.
Definitely. Okay, so this is a question that I was kind of like, I kind of want to know the answer to. So how would Kail feel if one of her boys brought home a girl with 3 kids by 3 guys? Would she be supportive because you have been in her shoes, or would you disapprove for your son? No disrespect whatsoever. I have followed Kail since the beginning and think she's a great person and mom.
Okay. So something that people don't know about me is that I'm extremely self-aware. And also I think that in some ways I'm very understanding because of what I've been through in my life and what I've seen. And in some ways I can use that to be, I don't know if wise is the right word, but give advice. I'm very like, if I've done it, I'm aware that other people can do it, and I can kind of recognize the signs of like what's happening. If one of my sons brought home someone that had 3 kids by 3 men, I I would express to him how apprehensive I am and hesitant that he should be moving forward. He should be very careful. Not to say that I have bad intentions, but I think that it's clear that I have not been able to make relationships work, and I have sought attention and validation in unhealthy relationships. So I think that I would really want one of my kids to really look and analyze the situation and what that looks like for that person. So is it bad relationships? I mean, there's a ton of factors. I mean, what if this woman has kids by different men because one of them passed away and she tried to move on? Like, there's different circumstances, I feel like. But I will say I dated after Chris, and, I think that that wasn't something that they really looked at. I think it was more like, I had Isaac when I was 16 years old. I was married to Javi. So it wasn't like I was just out sleeping around and getting knocked up by random people. And even to say Chris is random is a stretch, because I've known him since 2014. So we're going on 2019 now. And, we built a foundation in friendship. So I think I would just caution my child, my son, to really look at the situation and say, is this something that I want to get into? And if he looks at it and he's like, okay, this is what it is, and I think that we can move forward, I would obviously encourage it. But if I'm starting to see red flags before he does, I'm going to bring them to his attention, and then he can still decide whatever he wants to decide, and I'm going to support that.
Good answer.
Thanks.
I feel like, obviously, like, as a mom, you're going to kind of be like, okay, I've been there and I've been down that road. So you're going to be like a little more aware because
right,
you've done it yourself.
Well, it takes one to know one. And that's the thing, is like, people can call me out. They can call me names. They can troll me online, but like, it takes one to know one, and nobody knows my situation better than I do. So when I see that in someone else, I'm going to look at all of the factors and the whole circumstance. Like, to be perfectly honest, I dated Dom after Chris, and that was something that I asked her about. Like, why would you want to be with someone that has 3 kids by 3 people? And that was something that, she did look at the situation, and she looked at it and was like, this isn't something that really matters in our relationship. Like, she knew that I had Isaac so young and that I was married to Javi. Like I said, it wasn't like I'm out hoeing around getting knocked up. Like, that's not the case at all. I mean, if Lincoln or Lux brings home somebody who's hoeing around and I recognize that, I'm going to call it how I see it. And then he's still going to do what he wants regardless.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. This was a question for both of us. Career goals for both of you outside of reality TV. And I feel like we've talked about this before. But I'm not on reality TV anymore, so I feel like I've already taken that next step to, kind of do something different. And even though, like, people see me on Instagram or, I'm podcasting, that is separate from reality TV. And so I feel very content where I'm at. And, I do have goals for myself, but I don't really know what that's going to look like because I'm kind of happy at the point of where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good answer. I mean, and I think that there's always obviously room to expand the podcast and what we're already doing. So, yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's good. I would love to just like keep working my ass off in other endeavors so that when I do come off reality TV, whenever that may be, I'm continuing to be successful in the podcast, because I think we both really like doing it. And I also just want to work to a point where Pothead takes off and we're expanding and growing. And I'm super passionate about it, and I'm having a really good time with doing Pothead. So, yeah, I just think that I'm learning a lot about marketing outside of, my teen mom following. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but just Pothead and podcast.
Agreed. I definitely feel like what we're doing now people don't realize the time that's invested, and it's just kind of like reality TV. People see a 30-minute episode or an hour episode and think that that took an hour to do, and that's probably like a 7-day recording or filming schedule to get that all pieced into one segment. So
right.
It's not like, what you see is what you get, because we all should know that that is not the case at all. And yeah, it's time invested. And I like the freedom of doing the podcast and being able to have my family be at home, do all the things that I want to do as a mom. I just would like to refine certain things into the next year.
Yes, I agree with that. I love that.
What's an unexpected positive of co-parenting?
An unexpected positive of co-parenting. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because there's nothing positive.
You know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. There are weeks that I just have just like a mental block, completely emotional shutdown. To be perfectly honest, these last couple days, I would say 2 to 3 days for me have been super, super, super emotional. And so when they do go to their dads on the weekend, and I've just had like a super rough week, whether it's in work or just like personal, emotional, whatever, to have that like reset button. Okay, I can't feel guilty because they're going with their dad. I'm not, and even if it was a babysitter, like fuck it, you've had a rough week, like I deserve this mental health, just like de-stress moment. And, I will say that like when they go to their dads and I've had a rough week, that's probably an unexpected good thing about co-parenting is like, but I guess I wouldn't really know in a healthy relationship. I guess that would happen also. Like, here, go spend some time with your dad while I de-stress for a couple hours. But I don't really know what that's like because that never happened. So
I just thought about this last night when I was taking a bath, actually. I was like, okay, positives of co-parenting is that you do get that mental break because your child's going to their dad's and they're going to spend the quality time. And you know that they're going to be, hopefully, in a good co-parenting situation, that they're going to be taken care of and they're going to be enjoying their time while you get that rest and relaxation or whatever you're using your time for like you time. However, in a marriage situation where you have people that are living in the same home, doing everything pretty much together, the breaks are few and far between because you're kind of all just doing stuff together. Like, I mean, Will is pretty good about taking Jackson to the basement and like hitting baseballs and playing for a little while, but it's never like that, okay, I have the house to myself.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that for sure. I mean, it's definitely different. Yeah, I would say. I mean, and that doesn't mean that, when I get a break and they go to their dads, that it's a fucking free-for-all. I'm also still, doing my kids' laundry and preparing for the next week and planning doctor appointments and doing those things that I need to do. But I definitely think that, well, and it's easy too, like, I'm going to be honest too, like, Javi was not good when Lincoln was a newborn. Like, he was absolutely not around, not helpful. It was very, very difficult. And so when we were together, it wasn't like I got to, have a couple hours to myself. It was, okay, he might hold the baby for an hour and I have to rush and do whatever I need to do. And so it's not really that true break that you need. And being a mom, whether you're a single mom or you're in a marriage or you're whatever the case may be, it's difficult. So I definitely think that it's very different from someone like you, for example, who is married and Will can help, but it's not really like a break like I'm getting where they go overnight to their dads.
Right. And I'm not saying that like I want that or don't want that. It's not about like judging a situation. It's just the facts of the difference in the situation.
Yeah. Right.
We don't really have time for any more questions, but I just wanted to say to everyone who has tuned in to our podcast in the past year, I just want to say thank you, because you guys are the reason that we can do this every week. And even though we might spew ignorance sometimes, or we might talk about things that you might be uncomfortable with, or sometimes we might be funny because we laugh at ourselves. I just appreciate it so much, because you are allowing me to do something that I love doing, and I just appreciate it.
Same. Couldn't have said it better.
So same. So thank you guys so much for listening to our last episode of the year. We hope that you guys have an amazing holiday with your families. And if you are not following us on @CoffeeConvos podcast on Instagram, make sure you follow us over there so that you can keep up with everything that we're doing. We are also now available on Pandora. Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you next year.
See ya.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.